A tempest raged across the Australian outback, turning the sky an ominous shade of gray. Liam Bennett, a retired astronaut, struggled to secure his farm against the oncoming storm. The wind howled as he fastened the last of the shutters on his weathered farmhouse, the memories of his lost family swirling with the dust. As the first fat raindrops began to fall, Liam heard a faint, unfamiliar sound from the barn. His curiosity piqued. He grabbed his flashlight and headed towards the structure. The beam of light cut through the darkness, revealing shadows and dust motes. Liam pushed open the creaking barn door, the sound barely audible over the storm's fury. Inside, the barn was filled with the scent of hay and earth. Liam's flashlight flickered across the bales of hay, and there it was again, a soft, almost imperceptible whimper. His heart raced as he moved deeper into the barn, the sound growing louder with each step. Behind a stack of hay bales, he found her a small, emaciated figure with luminescent skin and wide, terrified eyes. The alien girl, Zara, was huddled in the corner, her body trembling with fear and hunger. Liam's breath caught in his throat. She was unlike anything he had ever seen, yet there was something undeniably human in her desperation. "Hey there," Liam said softly, crouching down to her level. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." Zara flinched at his words but didn't run. She was too weak to move, let alone flee. Liam's mind raced. He knew he should report her to the authorities, but something in her eyes, a silent plea for help, stopped him. Memories of his own daughter's eyes, pleading for help as she lay sick in a hospital bed, flooded his mind. "Can you understand me?" Liam asked, keeping his voice gentle. Zara nodded weakly. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was barely a whisper. "Help, please." Liam's resolve hardened. He couldn't turn her away, not when she was so vulnerable. "Okay," he said, more to himself than to her. "Okay, let's get you out of here." He scooped her up gently, surprised at how light she was, and carried her into the farmhouse. The storm outside intensified, thunder rumbling as if the heavens themselves were protesting his decision. Inside, the warmth and light of the farmhouse seemed almost alien to Zara, who looked around with wide, curious eyes. Liam laid her on the couch and fetched a blanket, wrapping it around her shivering form. "I'll be right back," he said, heading to the kitchen. He rummaged through his supplies, pulling out some bread and a can of soup. As he prepared a simple meal, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to change irrevocably. When he returned to the living room, Zara was staring at the family photos on the mantelpiece. "Who are they?" she asked, her voice stronger now. Liam followed her gaze, his heart aching at the sight. "My family," he said quietly. "They're gone now." Zara looked at him with those wide, empathetic eyes. "I'm sorry," she said simply. Liam nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "Here, eat this," he said, handing her the bowl of soup. She took it gratefully, her hands shaking as she lifted the spoon to her mouth. Liam watched her eat, his mind racing with questions. Who was she? Where did she come from? And why was she here, alone and starving? As Zara finished the meal, exhaustion overcame her. Liam watched as she drifted off to sleep, her breathing steady and calm for the first time since he found her. He knew the storm outside was the least of his worries now. Protecting Zara meant defying the government and risking his own safety. But as he looked at the sleeping girl, he knew he couldn't abandon her. She needed him, and perhaps he needed her too. The storm raged on, but inside the farmhouse, a fragile sense of peace settled over them. The next morning, Liam awoke to the sound of distant thunder and the rhythmic patter of rain against the windows. He stretched and glanced at the couch where Zara lay curled up, still fast asleep. The events of the previous night felt surreal, but the sight of the alien girl brought reality crashing back. He moved quietly into the kitchen to make breakfast. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the scent of rain-soaked earth. As he prepared a simple meal, his mind raced with thoughts of how to keep Zara safe and hidden. The knock on the door interrupted his reverie, sending a jolt of fear through him. Heart pounding, Liam approached the door and peered through the peephole. Two government agents stood outside, their stern expressions barely visible through the distorted glass. Taking a deep breath, Liam opened the door, schooling his features into a mask of calm. Good morning, one of the agents said, flashing a badge. We're conducting a routine check. Have you noticed anything unusual in the area? Liam's mind raced, but he forced himself to remain composed. Nothing out of the ordinary, he replied, keeping his voice steady. The agents exchanged glances before the second one spoke. Mind if we take a look around? Just to be sure. Liam's heart sank, but he nodded, stepping aside to let them in. He followed them as they methodically searched the house, his thoughts a chaotic jumble. In the living room, Zara was hidden under a pile of blankets, motionless and silent. The agents cast brief, suspicious glances at the covered form, but moved on without further investigation. As they made their way to the barn, Liam struggled to maintain his composure. What exactly are you looking for? He asked, hoping to divert their attention. Just following up on some reports, one agent replied cryptically. The search seemed to drag on for an eternity, but eventually the agents finished and left without finding anything. Liam watched them drive away, relief flooding through him. He hurried back to the house, his mind already turning to the next challenge, keeping Zara hidden and safe. Inside, Zara had woken and was sitting up, her eyes wide with fear. Are they gone? She whispered. Liam nodded. For now. But we need to be more careful. He led her to the attic, where he had hastily prepared a hidden space. It was cramped and dusty, but it would serve as a temporary sanctuary. Zara looked around, her expression a mix of gratitude and apprehension. Thank you, she said softly. I don't know what I would have done without you. Liam gave her a reassuring smile. We'll get through this. But we need to communicate better. Do you have a translator? Zara nodded, pulling a small device from her pocket. She activated it, and the device emitted a soft hum. This should help, she said, her voice now clearer and more confident through the translator. They spent the next few hours talking, the translator bridging the gap between their languages. Zara shared fragments of her story, her planet ravaged by war, her people scattered across the galaxy, and her perilous journey to Earth. Liam listened intently, his heart aching for the young girl who had lost so much. In turn, he shared his own story, the pain of losing his family, and the sense of purposelessness that had plagued him since. As they spoke, a bond began to form, built on shared sorrow and the faint glimmer of hope. Later that evening, Dr. Amanda Novak arrived. Liam had contacted her earlier, and she had agreed to help. Amanda examined Zara, her brow furrowing with concern. She's malnourished and dehydrated, but otherwise stable, Amanda said, packing away her medical kit. She needs proper care and a safe place to stay. This attic won't do for long. Liam nodded, his determination hardening. We're planning to move her to the sanctuary city, but we'll need to be careful. The agents are already suspicious. Amanda looked thoughtful. I can help with that. We can create a diversion, something to draw their attention away from here. But we'll need to move quickly. As night fell, the three of them discussed their plan in hushed tones. The storm outside had abated, leaving the air fresh and cool. Zara, now more animated and hopeful, contributed ideas, her survival instincts sharp. As the government vehicles loomed closer, Liam's mind raced. He signaled to Zara and Amanda, urging them to stay hidden in the attic while he dealt with the agents. The sound of gravel crunching under tires grew louder, a harbinger of the imminent confrontation. Liam took a deep breath and stepped outside, squaring his shoulders as the agents exited their vehicles. The lead agent, a tall man with an air of authority, approached him with a clipboard in hand. Mr. Bennett, we need to ask you a few more questions, the agent said, his tone brisk and uncompromising. Liam nodded, keeping his expression neutral. Of course. What's this about? We've received reports of unusual activity in the area, the agent replied. We need to ensure there are no unauthorized individuals on your property. Liam's heart pounded, but he forced a calm smile. You've already searched my property. There's nothing here but an old man and his farm. The agent's eyes narrowed. Mind if we take another look? Before Liam could respond, Amanda's voice crackled through his earpiece, hidden beneath his collar. Liam, we need to move now. I've spotted a breach in their perimeter. Liam's pulse quickened. Go ahead, he said aloud, turning to lead the agents away from the house. As they approached the barn, Amanda and Zara slipped out the back, moving swiftly and silently towards the hidden escape route Liam had prepared. Inside the barn, the agents conducted another thorough search. Liam's mind was a whirlwind of worry, but he kept his composure, answering their questions with practiced ease. After what felt like an eternity, the agents finally relented. "Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Bennett," the lead agent said, his tone grudgingly respectful. "We'll be on our way." Liam nodded, relief flooding through him as the agents drove away. He quickly made his way to the hidden tunnel, where Amanda and Zara were waiting. "We need to move fast," Amanda said, her voice urgent. "They'll realize we're gone soon." Liam nodded, leading them through the tunnel that opened into a dense thicket on the edge of his property. The path was narrow and treacherous, but it provided the cover they needed to escape undetected. As they navigated the rugged terrain, Liam's mind raced with thoughts of the sanctuary city, a place where Zara could finally be safe. The journey was fraught with challenges. They had to avoid government patrols, navigate through harsh landscapes, and find food and water along the way. Each day brought new obstacles, but with Zara's resilience and Amanda's resourcefulness, they pressed on. One evening, as they camped near a secluded riverbank, Zara opened up about her past. "I was just a child when the war started," she said, her voice tinged with sorrow. "We fled from planet to planet, always just one step ahead of the destruction." Liam listened intently, his heart aching for her. "You're safe now," he said gently. "We'll get you to the sanctuary city." Zara nodded, a determined glint in her eyes. "Thank you, Liam, for everything." As the days turned into weeks, their bond grew stronger. Liam found himself fiercely protective of Zara, willing to do whatever it took to ensure her safety. Amanda's presence was a constant source of support, her expertise invaluable in navigating the treacherous journey. One night, as they approached the outskirts of the sanctuary city, they encountered a roadblock. Government agents patrolled the area, their vehicles casting ominous shadows in the moonlight. "We can't go through there," Amanda whispered, her voice tense. "We need to find another way." Liam scanned the area, his mind racing. "There," he said, pointing to a narrow, overgrown path that led around the blockade. "It's risky, but it's our best shot." They moved swiftly and silently, the weight of the journey pressing down on them. The path was treacherous, filled with thorny underbrush and hidden pitfalls. Zara stumbled, and Liam caught her just in time, his heart pounding with fear. "We're almost there," he whispered, urging her forward. As they emerged from the dense foliage, the sanctuary city came into view. Its walls loomed high, a symbol of hope and refuge. But their relief was short-lived. A sudden commotion erupted behind them. Agents had discovered their trail. "Run!" Liam shouted, adrenaline surging through his veins. They sprinted towards the city gates, the sound of pursuit growing louder. Just as they reached the entrance, a burst of gunfire rang out. Liam turned, his heart in his throat, to see Amanda fall, a look of shock and pain on her face. "No!" Zara cried, rushing to Amanda's side. Liam knelt beside her, his eyes filled with determination. "We can't stay here. We need to get inside." Amanda, her voice weak but resolute, nodded. "Go. I'll hold them off." Tears filled Zara's eyes as she clutched Amanda's hand. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Liam pulled Zara to her feet, guiding her through the gates. As they entered the sanctuary city, the gates closed behind them, cutting off the chaos outside. The sanctuary city, with its towering walls and bustling streets, offered a stark contrast to the perilous journey Liam and Zara had endured. Inside, the air was filled with a sense of cautious hope, as humans and aliens coexisted, working together to build a new life. Yet, the memory of Amanda's sacrifice hung heavily over them. Zara's eyes widened as she took in the cityscape, a mix of awe and trepidation evident on her face. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice filled with wonder and relief. Liam nodded, his gaze softening as he looked at her. It is. And it's safe here. We'll start fresh." As they navigated the crowded streets, a tall, stern-looking woman approached them. Her uniform and authoritative presence marked her as one of the city's officials. "Welcome to Sanctuary City," she said, her tone brisk but not unkind. "I'm Lieutenant Harris. I understand you need asylum." Liam nodded. "Yes, this is Zara," he introduced, gesturing to the young alien. "We need your help." Harris assessed them with a keen eye. "Follow me. We'll get you settled and start the necessary paperwork." They were led to a modest apartment, sparsely furnished but clean and welcoming. As Zara explored her new surroundings, Harris handed Liam a packet of documents. "These are the forms you'll need to fill out. We'll also need to conduct a medical examination for Zara to ensure she's healthy and to understand her needs better." Liam accepted the packet, gratitude and exhaustion mixing in his expression. "Thank you. We'll get started right away." Over the next few days, Zara underwent a series of medical tests and interviews. The city's healthcare facilities were advanced, and the staff was kind and professional. Liam stayed by her side, offering comfort and support. He marveled at her resilience, her ability to adapt despite everything she had been through. One evening, as they sat in their apartment, Zara turned to Liam. "I miss Amanda," she said softly, her eyes reflecting a deep sorrow. Liam's heart ached for her. "I do too," he admitted. "But she wanted us to be safe. We need to honor her sacrifice by living the best life we can." Zara nodded, determination hardening her features. "I'll make her proud." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, a father-daughter dynamic emerging naturally. Liam found solace in caring for Zara, rediscovering a sense of purpose he thought he'd lost forever. One day, while shopping for supplies, they heard a commotion in the marketplace. A group of citizens had gathered, murmuring anxiously. Curious, Liam and Zara made their way to the front, where Lieutenant Harris was addressing the crowd. "There's been an increase in government patrols near our borders," Harris announced, her voice steady but grave. "We believe they may be planning an incursion. We must stay vigilant and be prepared to defend our city." The news sent a ripple of fear through the crowd. Liam exchanged a worried glance with Zara. "We need to be ready," he said, his mind already formulating plans. In the following days, the city braced itself for potential conflict. Training sessions were organized, and defenses were reinforced. Liam, drawing on his military experience, volunteered to help train the city's residents in basic combat and survival skills. Zara joined the efforts, her keen intellect and agility making her a quick learner. As they worked together, a sense of camaraderie and purpose grew among the city's inhabitants. Liam was impressed by Zara's determination and courage. She had transformed from a frightened girl into a resilient young woman, ready to defend her new home. One evening, after a particularly grueling training session, Liam and Zara sat on a bench overlooking the city. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the buildings, creating a moment of tranquility amidst the tension. Zara turned to Liam, her eyes reflecting both determination and fear. "Do you think we'll be safe here?" Liam took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "I think we have a fighting chance. We're stronger together, and we'll protect each other." As night fell, the city buzzed with a mix of anxiety and resolve. The patrols outside the walls grew more frequent, their lights a constant reminder of the looming threat. Inside, the residents prepared for whatever might come, their spirits bolstered by the unity and support they found in one another. The tension reached a peak one night, when an alarm blared through the city. Liam and Zara, already on high alert, rushed to the city's defense lines. The sight that greeted them was daunting. Government forces amassed at the gates, their intentions clear. Lieutenant Harris barked orders, coordinating the city's defense. "Hold your positions. We can't let them breach the walls." Liam and Zara took their places, ready to defend their home. The first clash was intense, a chaotic mix of shouts, gunfire, and the clang of metal. Liam's training kicked in, his movements precise and controlled. Zara, agile and quick, fought with a fierce determination, her every action reflecting her will to survive. As the battle raged on, the city's defenders held their ground. The resolve of its inhabitants, fueled by a shared purpose and the memory of sacrifices made, proved stronger than the invading forces. Slowly, the tide turned in their favor.